Amara sat on the cold tile floor, hugging her knees to her chest. The wedding was just a few hours ago, but already, she felt like she had made the biggest mistake of her life. The living room was quiet now. The guests had gone. The music had stopped. Her heart was heavy. Gladys, her new mother-in-law, stood above her with a proud look on her face. "Girls who come without dowry don't sleep on beds here," she said coldly. "That floor is where you belong." Amara looked up, hoping to see David, her husband, say something, anything. But he just stood there at the foot of the stairs, silent. His eyes didn't meet hers. He turned and walked away. She couldn't believe it. Just 2 months ago, David had said he didn't care about money. He told her love was enough. He told her his family would understand. But now, here she was, sitting on the floor of a house that didn't feel like home, married to a man who didn't defend her. Her suitcase was still by the door. No one had helped her bring it upstairs. The bedroom that was supposed to be hers was now taken by Gladys. Amara could hear laughter from the top floor, David and his sisters. They were celebrating, as if she didn't exist. The lights were off. The room felt even colder than it was. Amara didn't cry. She had already cried too many times in the last few days. She just sat there, her head resting on her knees, wondering how love had brought her to this place. She thought about her parents. How they had borrowed money just to meet some of the dowry requests. How her mother had held her hand that morning and asked if she was sure. Amara had smiled and said yes. She had believed David would protect her. She had believed she mattered. Now, it didn't feel like love at all. The night passed slowly. Every hour felt like a day. When the first light of morning came through the window, Amara was still awake. Her back ached. Her mind was tired. Then a knock came at the door. It was soft but clear. One knock, then another. Everyone upstairs was still asleep. Amara stood up, quietly walked to the door, and opened it. A man in a navy blue suit stood there, holding a brown envelope. "Good morning," he said. "Are you Amara Obies?" She nodded, unsure. He looked at her kindly. "I've come with news that will change your life." Amara sat on the cold tile floor, hugging her knees to her chest. The wedding was just a few hours ago, but already, she felt like she had made the biggest mistake of her life. The living room was quiet now. The guests had gone. The music had stopped. Her heart was heavy. Gladys, her new mother-in-law, stood above her with a proud look on her face. "Girls who come without dowry don't sleep on beds here," she said coldly. "That floor is where you belong." Amara looked up, hoping to see David, her husband, say something, anything. But he just stood there at the foot of the stairs, silent. His eyes didn't meet hers. He turned and walked away. She couldn't believe it. Just 2 months ago, David had said he didn't care about money. He told her love was enough. He told her his family would understand. But now, here she was, sitting on the floor of a house that didn't feel like home, married to a man who didn't defend her. Her suitcase was still by the door. No one had helped her bring it upstairs. The bedroom that was supposed to be hers was now taken by Gladys. Amara could hear laughter from the top floor, David and his sisters. They were celebrating, as if she didn't exist. The lights were off. The room felt even colder than it was. Amara didn't cry. She had already cried too many times in the last few days. She just sat there, her head resting on her knees, wondering how love had brought her to this place. She thought about her parents. How they had borrowed money just to meet some of the dowry requests. How her mother had held her hand that morning and asked if she was sure. Amara had smiled and said yes. She had believed David would protect her. She had believed she mattered. Now, it didn't feel like love at all. The night passed slowly. Every hour felt like a day. When the first light of morning came through the window, Amara was still awake. Her back ached. Her mind was tired. Then a knock came at the door. It was soft but clear. One knock, then another. Everyone upstairs was still asleep. Amara stood up, quietly walked to the door, and opened it. A man in a navy blue suit stood there, holding a brown envelope. "Good morning," he said. "Are you Amara Obies?" She nodded, unsure. The man at the door looked calm and professional. He held the brown envelope tightly and waited for Amara to say something. She stood in her nightdress, her hair messy from the long, painful night. "Yes," she said softly. "I'm Amara Obies." He nodded politely. "Good morning, ma'am. I'm from the Open Readers Foundation. We've been trying to reach you." Amara blinked, confused. "Me?" He handed her the envelope. "Yes. You submitted a proposal months ago about building community libraries in rural areas. You've been selected for our International Fellowship Program. It's a full scholarship. You'll be flown to New York for training and support. The program starts in 5 days." Amara stared at him, frozen. "We sent multiple emails," he continued, "but you never replied. So I decided to come in person." Her hands trembled as she took the envelope. Her name was clearly printed on the front. She looked up at the man, still lost for words. "You have 48 hours to confirm your acceptance," he said kindly. "Congratulations." He turned and walked away. Amara slowly closed the door. Her heart was racing. She had applied for that program months ago, before all the wedding stress began. It had been her dream, a chance to make a real change. She had waited for a response that never came. Until now. She tore open the envelope. Inside was everything: her acceptance letter, travel details, program benefits, even a personal note from the foundation's director praising her vision. Why hadn't she seen this before? Then it hit her. She looked up the stairs. David. He had access to her email. Once, she had trusted him enough to share her password. They even used the same laptop sometime. Her hands tightened around the envelope. Her chest felt like it was burning. She walked to the stairs and called his name. David. He came down slowly, rubbing his eyes. What's going on? Who was that? You tell me, she said, holding up the letter. Did you know about this? He looked at the paper. His face went pale. I saw it weeks ago, he admitted quietly. You saw it, she repeated, her voice shaking. You saw this and didn't tell me? I was scared, he said quickly. I thought if you got it, you'd leave. You'd go to America and forget me. I just wanted to keep us together. So you hid it? Her voice broke. You let me sit on this floor like a stranger, and you kept my future from me? I didn't mean to hurt you, he said, stepping closer. I love you. No, she said firmly, stepping back. Love doesn't do this. She turned away and picked up her suitcase, still packed from the day before. She grabbed her phone, her ID, and the envelope. Amara, please, David begged. Let's talk. She didn't stop. His mother came down the stairs, frowning. Where do you think you're going? Amara looked at her with calm, tired eyes. To where people don't measure my worth by a price tag. She walked out the front door without another word. The morning sun was rising. The street was quiet. But inside her, everything was loud: rage, pain, betrayal, and something new: strength. She didn't know what would happen next. But she knew one thing for sure. She was never coming back. Amara sat in a small guest house not far from the city. The room was clean but plain, just a bed, a chair, and a desk, but it felt like freedom. Her suitcase sat open beside her. The brown envelope lay on the bed. She kept reading the letter again and again, still in disbelief. She hadn't told her parents yet. She didn't want to worry them. She didn't even know how to explain everything. What would she say? That her husband hid her opportunity from her? That her mother-in-law made her sleep on the floor? That her wedding night felt like a punishment, not a celebration? Her phone kept buzzing. David was calling. She ignored everyone. After a while, messages started coming in. David. Amara, please, let's talk. I didn't mean to hurt you. David. We can fix this. Don't throw away everything we have. David. You can't just walk away like that. Then his tone changed. David. You're being dramatic. You're my wife now. This is your home. David. If you go to America, don't bother coming back. Amara stared at the messages with a numb heart. Every word felt like a crack in something that was already broken. Then her phone rang again. It was her mother. Amara hesitated but answered. Amara, my daughter, is everything all right? Her mother asked gently. There was silence for a moment. Then Amara burst into tears. Mummy, I left David's house, she whispered. What happened? I slept on the floor. His mother said I had no dowry. David didn't say anything. He watched me sit there like I was nothing. And he hid something from me, an opportunity that could have changed my life. Her mother was quiet for a moment. Then she said softly, Come home, my child. We'll talk about everything. That evening, Amara traveled back to her parents' house. Her mother was waiting outside when the taxi pulled up. She hugged Amara tightly and didn't let go. Her father came out quietly and helped her carry the suitcase inside. At the dinner table, Amara told them everything. Every detail. Her voice shook. Sometimes she stopped to cry. But she told the truth. Her father listened carefully. When she finished, he nodded slowly. Some people want a wife they can shape like clay, he said. But they forget, clay hardens when you burn it. The next few days were filled with tension. David showed up at her parents' home on the third day. He came with his older sister, pretending to act concerned. Amara, please come outside. I just want to talk, he said from the gate. Amara stayed at the window. You've said enough, she replied firmly. There's nothing left to fix. You're throwing away our marriage over one mistake, he shouted. One. Amara said bitterly. You betrayed me. You made me believe I wasn't good enough. His sister tried to reason with her. It's marriage, Amara. There will be fights. You just need to adjust. All women do. Amara shook her head. I wasn't born to suffer in silence. David left angrily. That night, Amara finally opened her email. She went through her inbox and found the message from the foundation, sent nearly 4 weeks ago. David had opened the message. The system marked it as read. It was proof. She forwarded it to her own folder and took screenshots. She didn't plan to expose him, but if he tried to lie again, she'd be ready. Her mother stood beside her quietly. You're doing the right thing, she said. You gave him a chance, and he chose power over partnership. Still, the pain didn't leave easily. Sometimes Amara lay awake at night wondering what would have happened if that man hadn't knocked on the door. Would she still be there? Sleeping on the floor? Giving up her dream for a marriage that was already broken? The thought scared her. One afternoon, she received a call from a woman named Ngozi, one of David's exes. They had met once at a conference years ago. Ngozi spoke quietly. "I heard what happened," she said. "You're not the first." "What do you mean?" Amara asked, heart racing. "David used to control everything when I was with him. My job offers, my friends, even my clothes. He pretends to be supportive, but once you're close, he turns cold. He's obsessed with control." Amara listened in shock. "I just wanted you to know, you're not crazy. And you're not alone." The call shook Amara deeply. Everything made more sense now. David's charm had a pattern. He found strong women, made them feel safe, then slowly tried to silence their power. That evening, Amara looked at herself in the mirror. She didn't look weak. She looked like someone who had been hurt, but was still standing. She looked like someone. 2 days before her flight to New York, Amara received a formal invitation for a family meeting at the Ease family house. It was delivered by a neighbor boy, written in neat handwriting, sealed in an envelope. Her mother frowned after reading it. "You don't owe them anything, Amara." "I know," Amara said, "but I want to go." Her father looked at her. "Why?" She took a breath. "Because I want to say my truth, to their faces. No fear. No shame." The next afternoon, she wore a simple blue gown and tied her hair back. She walked into the Ease house with her shoulders straight, heart steady. The living room was full. David sat on one side of the couch, his mother beside him, looking angry but calm. 2 of David's sisters sat on the opposite side. His uncle was also there, probably invited to make things official. Amara sat on the edge of the only empty chair. No one offered her water. No one smiled. Gladys cleared her throat. "So you ran back to your father's house. And now you're acting like the victim." "I didn't run," Amara said. "I walked away from a house that didn't treat me like a human being." David leaned forward. "We've all made mistakes, Amara. But marriage isn't for the weak. You were supposed to be patient." "Patient while you hid my future from me?" she snapped. Everyone went quiet. "What are you talking about?" Gladys asked. Amara opened her bag and pulled out the printed email and screenshots. "This is the fellowship letter you helped hide," she said, looking directly at David. "You read it. You kept it from me. You watched me sleep on the floor, and still you said nothing." David's mouth opened and closed. His hands fidgeted on his lap. Everyone looked at him. "I didn't think it was that serious." "You didn't think my dream was serious?" Amara cut in. "You were afraid I'd outgrow you. So you clipped my wings before I could fly." Gladys looked shocked. "Is this true, David?" He stayed silent. "Answer her," his uncle barked. David finally spoke, voice low. "Yes, I saw it. I didn't know she'd find out." The room fell silent. Amara's voice shook, but she held her ground. "You married me not because you loved me, but because you wanted control. You smiled, lied, and pretended to support me. But the moment I had something that didn't include you, you became afraid." David's sisters looked down. Even Gladys seemed unsure now. "I wanted to love this family," Amara said. "But love isn't silent when you're being humiliated. Love doesn't sit still while you suffer." She stood up. "I came here not for your apology, but so you'll know I'm leaving with my head high. You broke a piece of me, but not all of me." David stood too. "You're overreacting. Don't let pride destroy your future." She smiled bitterly. "You already tried to destroy it, and you failed." Gladys stood up, her voice shaking with anger. "You're walking away from a good man." "No," Amara said. "I'm walking toward a better woman myself." She walked to the door. David followed her. "Amara, if you leave now, we're done. Forever." She turned back one last time. "That's the best thing you've said today." Then she left the house. She didn't cry. She didn't shake. She walked into the sunlight as if her whole body had just remembered what it meant to be free. And somewhere in her heart, something old broke apart, and something new began. The airport was busy, filled with people rushing, hugging, crying, and waving goodbye. Amara stood quietly near her boarding gate, holding her passport and the fellowship letter in her hand. She wore jeans, a white blouse, and a quiet, proud smile. Her mother stood beside her, holding back tears. "You've always made us proud," she said softly, "even when you didn't know it." Amara hugged her tightly. "Thank you for believing in me, even when I almost forgot how to believe in myself." Her father gave her a firm handshake and a small smile. "Go and do what you were born to do. Make them remember your name." She nodded, her heart full. Her phone buzzed one last time. A message from David. "I hope you find what you're looking for." She didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. On the plane, as it lifted off the ground, Amara looked out the window. The city below got smaller and smaller until it disappeared into clouds. A quiet tear rolled down her cheek, but it wasn't sadness. It was release. In New York, everything felt different. The air, the people, the energy. Amara threw herself into the program. She studied, collaborated, and shared her ideas. Her story, how she nearly lost her dream, became part of her presentation. And people listened. One day, a program director pulled her aside. "Your vision is strong," she said. "But what makes you special is your story. The way you didn't give up, even when you were pushed down." Amara smiled. "Thank you. I think I just needed to remember who I am." Months passed. Her project was selected for funding. She was offered a chance to stay longer, to travel, speak, and lead community library projects across West Africa. She said yes. Back home, her mother called often. "Your name is in the newspapers," she said proudly. "People are talking about your work. Even that boy's family, they act like they never knew you." Amara laughed gently. "Let them pretend. I don't need them to remember me. I remember me." One evening, Amara stood in a library she helped build in a small town in Enugu. The walls were painted bright yellow, and rows of books lined the shelves. Children sat on colorful mats, reading and smiling. She watched them quietly. A little girl looked up at her. "Auntie, did you build this place?" Amara knelt beside her. "Yes, but it started with a dream, and a decision not to give up." The girl smiled. "I want to be like you." Amara touched her cheek gently. "You'll be even better." She stood up, her heart full. She had been broken. She had been betrayed. But now she had rebuilt herself. Not as someone's wife, not as someone's daughter-in-law, but as herself. And that was more than enough. The sun was setting as Amara walked along the quiet road beside the library. The orange sky stretched far above her, calm and wide, like her future. The air smelled of dust and trees, and somewhere nearby, a child's laughter floated through the breeze. She stopped and looked back at the small building, the place that had become more than just a library. It was proof. Proof that her life did not end the day her marriage did. Proof that being left out of someone's story only gave her space to write her own. Her phone buzzed. This time, it was an email from a young woman in Lagos. "I read about your story. I cried. I felt seen. I'm also trying to leave a toxic marriage. I hope I can be as brave as you." Amara smiled gently and replied with just 3 words. "You already are." She looked up at the sky, closed her eyes, and breathed in slowly. There were still days when the memories stung. Nights when she remembered the silence, the cold floor, the shame. But those moments didn't control her anymore. They had shaped her, but they didn't define her. Now she was something new. Not the girl waiting for love to save her. Not the bride sitting quietly while her voice was stolen. Now she was her own rescue, her own answer, her own peace. She turned back to the path and kept walking, each step steady and sure. She didn't know what the future held, but she no longer feared it. Because for the first time in a long time, she was free. Hey besties. Thanks so much for watching till the end. If you felt Amara's journey, don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment. Your support means everything. And of course, subscribe for more drama-filled, emotional stories that hit deep. See you in the next one. Her friends invited everyone except her to their girls' trip. She booked one seat beside. Don't miss it. Bye.